Jason Buttrill, welcome. Chief researcher of the program, also watches foreign affairs for us and military stuff. What the hell is happening in Venezuela?
I think a lot of gamesmanship's happening in Venezuela right now, closing the air traffic control, or even saying that, or even hinting that they're going to close that, is pretty much just saying that they don't want any of Maduro's people that are going to try and escape out of the country. People that are involved with the cartel of the Suns. None of them are going to try and escape and then eventually come back so that they can start the regime back up again. I don't think there is any way possible that we're just about to start any kind of land operations inside Venezuela. I could be wrong, but I don't think it would be very unpopular. And I think constitutionally they could pull it off. I think there's ways that they could do that, but I don't think he doesn't like to do that kind of thing. I don't think he's about to start now. But I think these negotiations are getting a lot more heated. I think they're actually starting to bear fruit, which is why some of the threats are getting a lot more vocal. And I'm telling you, Glenn, we actually could see Maduro step down, be out of the country in a new regime there without us having to do much at all, except for striking some of these narco boats coming out of the country. It could happen, and it would be amazing.
Okay, so let's start with the narco boats, because I think that's what the Democrats are now trying to allude to, that, these narco boats, they're not narcos. They're not running, those are just average fishing people. They have nothing to do with it. And this is unconstitutional. And we're shooting them even when they try to surrender. Do we know if any of those allegations are true?
Well, I think that they are pretty dang sure on the intelligence on what, who some of these people are on some of these vessels. If you can remember back, I think it was on day one. Why won't they tell us? I think that that would actually behoove them to give the full story. The American public is a lot more smart. It's a lot more educated on what's going on in a lot of these things. They're a lot more prone to research on their own and find out for themselves what's actually happening in Venezuela. We've talked about it a lot with the terrorism sponsorship that happens there between Hezbollah. A multitude of very scary terrorist individuals have made that kind of their base through Iran, through the entire network. I think that it makes a whole lot of sense for them just to say, look, this is what's going on. But they decided to go another route. And I really don't know. I know that they are very, very justified in what they are doing with a lot of these boats. And they've talked about since day one when they started designating multiple groups, not only in Venezuela, but in Mexico. I think on day one of President Trump's administration, he designated multiple cartels as terror organizations. And then a couple of more from Venezuela have followed onto that. So what he's basically done there is he's declared them enemy combatants.
Okay, I want to get to the terror organizations here in a second. But first, let's stick with the drug cartels. Because that's what he's hanging his hat on. And I don't think this is about the drug cartels. I really don't. I think that might have been the entry point. But explain who the what is it? The League of the Suns or the Cartel of the Suns? Explain that, because when you think Cartel of the Suns, you think S-U-N, Sun. It's not. It's S-O-N-S. Correct? Sons of whom?
No, it's actually the opposite. It's S-U-N. It's the Cartel of the Suns.
It is. That's right. Because of the medallion or the general's stars. That's right. Okay.
Yep. It's like a nickname.
Explain that.
They never actually declared themselves, we are the Cartel of the Suns. They never really said that. That was a nickname because so many people high level within the military inside Venezuela were part of this narco terror group, and they were getting kickbacks, and it was alleged that some of them were actually giving orders specifically all the way down the food chain. But their generals, I think it's maybe colonel and up, or maybe general and up. I think it's general and up. Instead of stars, they have a little sun insignia. So like 3 suns, like a 3-star general, or on and so forth. That's why they were given that nickname, because they are part of this group and they are part of the military. Now, the head of that snake is Maduro. So he gives the orders down to the generals give the orders down. So that's how they were able to classify the entire government, in a sense, as part of this cartel, part of this entire terror group. And that is where, Glenn, it gets kind of interesting when it looks like constitutionally, what can they pull off? What can they do as far as military action when the head of the snake, who is the head of this cartel, allegedly, is the one giving these orders? Then that really kind of frees them up to do whatever they want when it comes to
right, because this cartel is a terror cartel. Explain the island and everything else.
Yeah, so the cartel is more involved with, well, it's more involved with drugs, but I say that, but they're, these groups are absolutely, in the true sense of the definition, terror organizations, the way they operate.
Right.
But the terror,
that's just their money. That's just where they make their money.
Right. And then, but it goes way beyond that, as you're talking about. Like, there is Margarita Island. There's an island just off the coast of Venezuela where Iran sends people to train there, to be stationed there. The Venezuelans come down from groups like Tren Agra and others to train there, sometimes going from Margarita Island all the way back to Iran to get more specialized training. Then they come back. Who knows where they go from there? Possibly in the United States. Who knows? They've held meetings, secret meetings inside Venezuela with the top scariest of the scariest terrorists to meet with Chavez, and then who knows later, potentially even Maduro. This is a terror hub. This is also a terror hub that is which I just described is working with Iran, but also Russia. Russia sends submarines to guard. They did this back in 2018 to show support, military support for Maduro. China is funding a lot of their stuff through oil. Russia is sending tankers to transport Chinese Venezuelan oil to China. Glenn, it's all part of the network. And as you're talking about, this goes way beyond anything where you just talk about narco groups coming from Venezuela to the United States. It is so much more integrated into that. And I agree with you. I think the Trump administration just lay it all out on the table. Say, this is what's going on. Congress wouldn't really even be able to talk. The Democrats, they wouldn't even really be able to counter any of it. It would be so obvious. They should just do it.
Help me out on the story that came out this weekend that said that Russia and China are kind of laying low here. What does that tell you?
It tells you a lot. For one, Russia's got a multitude of problems that they're dealing with. They can't really lend support. They don't have it. They don't even have the military power to complete what they want to complete with in Ukraine. Plus, they're trying to make moves towards this peace agreement. Putin wants a way out of this war just as much as Zelensky does. Both sides want it. Now the question is, how do they do it and both make it look like to their own people that they're the ones that won the war and won the negotiation? So, I mean, everything that's been coming out with the Ukrainian peace deal, I see this as just regular negotiations. It's getting leaked, and you're going to see a lot more of this as it goes on. But the important thing there is that they're actually working towards it. And China as well has got their own problems. Most of it trade. They're not going to screw with Trump. That was very obvious when they tried to pull out their last minute. Oh, we're borrowing all rare earth elements from everyone else. And then Trump said, "Oh, I don't think so," and then made them pull back. So they don't want to screw with the Trump administration right now either. So they're going very hands off. So, I mean, to me, it looks like a masterclass from the Trump administration. They're doing everything that they're supposed to do, and it's all going in the direction, their kind of grand design for where they want this to go, which is kind of like a rebirth of the Monroe Doctrine, if you really think about it. They're ejecting all foreign influence, the most worst of our adversaries that are out there that are just embedded in South America. They're dealing with that, which we haven't been able to say that for how long, Glenn? A long time, and it's going that direction.
I know. Okay, so let me go to the next piece, which is he's just banned air travel and said the skies are off limits for everybody. You say that's to stop anybody from escaping. Maduro was just presented with hey, you should get out now while you can. And Maduro said, I want amnesty for me and my family for any crimes. And I want to retain control of the military. I would imagine that Trump might have said yes to the amnesty thing, but you're not controlling the military after. No, that doesn't go to you. Do you think Maduro is close to caving here? And if so, where does he go?
Yeah, I think he's very close to caving. He's probably going to go to Russia or China, I would assume, one of those two countries. And
Enjoy
he's got
that.
quite the nest egg. You can look up all the family members from either Maduro, Chavez going on. I mean, they're multi-millionaires. A lot of these kids and spouses and girlfriends.
How's that possible? He was a bus driver.
I know, right?
No,
Makes
socialism is neat, kids. Socialism is neat.
But yeah, I think amnesty is probably the top of his list, and I'm sure that would probably be offered up and given in some form. Retaining power of the military is not on the table at all, because what he'll end up doing is he'll go away for 5 years. He'll come back, or he'll pick a successor that will then take control of the Venezuelan military, and they'll just rinse and repeat and retake back control of the entire country. So that is not going to happen. But his feet are definitely to the fire right now, if they're even at the point of negotiating this part of the deal. So that's why I think that it's very, very possible that we see something amazing on this front very, very soon.
Oh, that'd be great. All right, let me switch topics kind of to Mark Kelly. I want to play something, then I want to take a 1-minute break and come back and get, as a military guy, what your thoughts are. This is what Mark Kelly, he again this weekend, encouraging military to defy the orders of the president. Listen to this. Cut one.
People can tell the difference, should be able to tell the difference between something that is unlawful and something that is lawful. And if I was ever given an unlawful order, I would refuse. If you have time, you can certainly go to the judge, advocate generals, the lawyers, and have a discussion about it. If you don't have time, you just say simply, I'm not going to do that. That's against the law.
It puts a lot of burden on the troops to make a decision in real time.
It puts a tremendous amount of burden on officers in the military, but that is their responsibility, and they can figure out, a reasonable person can tell something that is legal and something that is illegal.
This is such dangerous territory. So, Jason, if they thought that something was going on, they should just say it. And they've come out and said, they've had reporters ask, well, is this because we've heard rumors that he was, he ordered people to be killed even as they were surrendering? And if that's true, that is against the law. That's not something we do. We don't do that. But there's no evidence of that. It's their word. And I think, again, if that's true, they should say that. And they should present evidence. But what I think they're doing is they're saying these things and putting the soldiers in an impossible situation. What they're really saying is, we're going to get in, and when we have control of Congress, we're going after all of you. You've followed what Donald Trump wants to do. We'll tell you what's legal and what's not legal. You should define it now, but this way they don't have to. They can just use scare tactics. Is that too cynical?
No, the United States soldier does not need your opinion on this, Mr. Kelly. They do not need your opinion on this. They know exactly what a lawful order is, and there are procedures that they are trained on how to go through. To go through the proper channels to address something like that. What I see this as being is a political party in whole that are experiencing something they're not used to. They're not used to having extreme partisans and political yes men at the top of the military food chain. People like Lloyd Austin. They want someone like him back. They want someone like Mark Milley back, which it's great that you're suddenly worried about. Some of these guys are suddenly worried about the military. Where were you when Mark Milley was calling his counterpart in China without orders from the president behind his back? Where were you on that? So what that says to me here is that you are more concerned about orders not lawful, but which you can claim that are going to be lawful, and that you can have a yes man there that will say that they are lawful, but you don't have that anymore, and it terrifies you. That's what they are concerned about right here. But the soldier doesn't need your soldier, Marine, airman. They don't need your counsel here on what is lawful or not. They're smart enough.
So
to
how is this being interpreted by the military, do you suppose? What's happening? If you were part of this task force, on Venezuela or anywhere in the world, and you heard this, what would you think?
Probably a lot of eye rolls. That's how I would interpret this if I was still in the military. I don't think that this is really, bothering too many of them at all. I think that the fact that some of these rumors, as the senator said, if this were true, they don't even know. They're talking about a hypothetical. They're throwing out something that possibly they can fish around for another impeachment. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing that it's come to this point.
If
and
it
as
is
you lay out,
let's say we
dangerous.
if we had footage, because we would have footage. If a plane was, they dropped a bomb and then you had survivors and they were, going, hey, we're alive, and somebody shot them or killed them, we'd have footage of that. That footage comes out. What would you say?
Well, if that's what the footage showed, then it would definitely look for a lot more investigation. But I've been in multiple different military operations where it's never as it was appeared or it looked like on a report higher up in the food, up the chain of command. I'd want to know all the details. This would be a huge investigation. But
it should be, because if it was somebody saying shoot him anyway, that's wrong, and that person should go to jail.
Yeah.
Right.
But we've seen no evidence to that at all.
None. That's the problem. We'd be with you if you would show us the evidence and we could do an investigation and show that did happen or didn't happen. We'd be with you. But, you're being so irresponsible by saying this. This isn't just to the military and to the American people. Those statements are going to our enemies in China and Russia and Ukraine and Iran. In Venezuela, they're hearing this too and using it and also viewing us as very weak.
Beck.
Not good, because the only time that ever happens is right before a revolution, quite honestly.